Is important. It gives us a sense of direction. It tells us what we want to do, where we want to go. And, that can be something that we are thinking about for ourselves as business owners. It's also something that we work on quite frequently with our clients, with our students. So goals can be great, but let's be really honest, they can also be a source of stress, especially when goals feel out of your reach or when it feels like maybe something's out of alignment with the way that you have set a goal. Now, if you're new here, I'm going to let you in on a secret. I am like crazy goal oriented. It is deep within my DNA as somebody who has achiever as number one of her Clifton strengths. I have been doing a lot of deep thinking about goal setting and how it can be, it actually can be quite toxic if we're not mindful of it. So here's a few things that I've thought about in the last several weeks when it comes to goals. Setting goals can be a slippery slope, my friends, because we're so entrenched in this bigger, better, faster, stronger kind of mentality in our society. And so I believe that oftentimes we skip over what is important and really connecting to why we're setting that goal. So today we're going to be discussing that, and we're going to be going through specific ways that we can become more mindful in goal setting and we can bring more meaning to those goals. And we're going to be talking about how we can do that as business owners and how we can take that into our studios and help our clients. We are learning how to nurture an effective goal setting practice in our businesses. So I hope that you're excited about this chat with me here today. If you are tuning in live or on the replay, I want to say welcome. Please let me know where you're tuning in from, and I can't wait to have this chat with you. So before we get started, let's play a little music. My dad's watching over on Instagram. Hey there, Jack Campbell. Nice to see you. All right, so we're going to do just some quick housekeeping things behind the scenes just to make sure that all of the things are working appropriately. We've had some changes to things in the past week, but I'm hoping that all the links are working well for you. For those who don't know, or if you're new, we do send out links to these broadcasts. We send them out via email. And we also send them out via text message. So I'd love to know, for those who are already on our lists, can you let me know if those links worked properly today? I'm really hoping they did, because we worked really hard to try to figure out that tech stuff behind the scenes. If you are new here, let me take a moment to introduce myself. My name is Sara Campbell. Oh, you know what would be super nice? It would be super nice if I actually had my microphone in front of me. I hope that sounds better. Okay, for those who are new, my name is Sara Campbell, and I am a business strategist, marketing, and mindset coach for music studio owners and online education experts just like yourself. And every Wednesday at 12 p.m. noon Eastern, we go live to talk about those topics, to, talk about the business strategies we need in place in order for our studios to run successfully so that we can have lives outside of work. We talk about marketing strategies because that's kind of my happy place. And we also talk about mindsets, the mindsets that we need in order to be successful with our business and our marketing. And today we're going to be looking at some mindset and strategies. Oh, good. Deborah says the sound is much better. I'm glad to hear that because I forgot that my microphone was not in front of my face. Always fun. Betsy says that the Facebook link worked. Oh, great. Betsy, let me know. Did you click on that from a desktop or are you on mobile? Did you get it in email or text? I know that that's like really picky, but I'm just super curious. All right. So let's get to this. We love to learn out loud here. So if you hear something that is valuable to you and you would like to say, hey, I want to put this intention out into the universe and put this into my practice, or like, whoa, that was pretty cool. This is an aha moment. Give us a hashtag takeaway and let us know what that is in the comments. And I love having conversations. So I'll bring those takeaways up onto the screen. And for those who are watching on the replay, I'll always be back around to chat with you. All right, let's get to all the things. Email on mobile. Okay, that worked great. Thank you, Betsy. I love it. If anyone here clicked on the link via text message, I'd love to know if that worked okay for you, because we've been testing some things out. If you're watching on YouTube, please be sure to subscribe. We just surpassed 600 subscribers on YouTube, and that was really cool. I forgot to celebrate that, so there's my celebration. I was really excited about that. We have, let me fix this. I have the Savvy Sara Bear bot set up. And if you would like to get a hold of the notes from today, if you are on Facebook, go ahead and drop a goal down below. Instagram, you can do that as well, and we'll reach out to you via DM and get you all the information. So if you put the word goal down, we'll give you all the notes that we're talking about. And over on the book, the Book of Face, over on YouTube, I'm dropping a link into the live chat, and it's also going to be in the description later on if you're watching on the replay. Okay, text worked for both YouTube and Facebook. Oh my God, Deborah, thank you. I'm so excited. All right, great. So let's get into the discussion today. Just a slight bit of background for those who are just tuning in and didn't catch that first couple of minutes here. The reason I wanted to talk about this topic is because I consider myself to be a chronic goal setter. Now, goals can be good, right? But as somebody who has achiever as her number one in her Clifton strengths, goals can also be a source of stress for me. And so I've been doing a lot of deep thinking about how we can create more effective goal setting practices in our businesses. So this can be something that you can take away as a business owner yourself. This is also something that we're going to apply to how we teach our students to set goals. That's something that's really big in my studio. I'll just give a quick example. Rather than telling people you have to practice X number of days, we have discussions around, okay, what are the goals going to be this week? And we discuss how they're going to achieve those goals. And so I've given a lot of thought to how do I discuss, or how can I describe this practice, and how can we avoid some of the pitfalls when it comes to chronic goal setting. So let's get to it. I have some points that I want to discuss. We're going to be discussing a couple of points, and then I'm going to go into some really valuable questions that I've used over the years. These can be used for yourself, and they can be used for your clients as well. So I really hope that you're going to enjoy these. So our first discussion today is this. Setting and achieving goals can be a slippery slope, because if we are not mindful of our own personal resources, and understanding that those personal resources, I'm talking about time, emotion, energy, that those resources ebb and flow. I'm not sure which way it is. I'm looking at the Instagram people like you guys have the answer. Things change over time. The amount of energy that we have, the amount of personal resources that we have changes over time. And if we don't recognize this, goal setting can become this toxic loop, right? This toxic loop that runs us ragged. I have seen this happen in my studio back when I wasn't being as mindful around helping my students to establish good goal setting practices. I've seen it with students who are trying to do all the things and be all the things. And when we as teachers don't remember that there's a lot of other things going on in their lives, we can, in fact, be a part of that toxic loop if we're not mindful about how we teach them to set goals. And I know that me personally, I have found this to be something that I can fall into over the years, that once I achieve one goal, I'm setting that next goal immediately, and I'm not taking the time to really think about what is my what does my resource bank look right now. I would love to know, if you're listening, if that resonates. Do you think sometimes, I set this big goal for myself, and really probably should have asked myself the question, do I have the energy for this right now? Is this going to be something that's achievable? And, really getting serious about where am I in this moment? So that's the first thing. I think that we need to recognize that setting and achieving goals can be a slippery slope. And we just need to know, hey, it is time to check in with what do the resource levels look like right now? That's the first thing that came to my mind when I was planning this. The second thing that came to my mind was this. Be aware of the bigger, better, faster, stronger mantra that often comes into our mind. Our culture is so deeply entrenched to this concept. And because of that, we often gloss over important questions that allow us to set better goals because we are so focused on doing the next and greatest things, increasing our numbers, hitting that next big goal and adhering to this bigger, better, faster, stronger mentality when it might be time to step back and think to yourself, what is it that I need right now? So what we're going to be focusing on is how we can avoid this, trap of the bigger, better, faster, stronger, and get more intentional around how we are setting our goals and how we are helping our students to set their goals. So let's get to the questions. If this is resonating with you, I would love for you to let me know. You can do that by hitting some thumbs, maybe giving some hearts, or you can let me know in the comments. Does this resonate? Does this make sense to you? So let's get to it. So we don't want to fall into toxic goal setting, and we want to make sure that we are being mindful of how we are setting things. So the question becomes this: how can we give our goals deeper meaning? Because without meaning behind a goal, without attaching that goal to a reason, then those goals can feel difficult. It can feel uninspiring. And so I've got some questions. I've got 3 questions that I want to encourage you to apply to your goal setting practice. And I think that these questions can be really useful when it comes to setting things for yourself and when it comes to setting things for your clients. So let's get to those 3 questions here. The goal is, how can we bring more why? And I'm going to explain that, and intention into our lives and into the lives of our students. So here we are. Let's bring these up. My first question that I love to ask, okay, because these questions, they're geared towards helping us set clear goals and also allowing us to tap into what is the reason that I'm doing this thing, whether it's, hey, I'm setting a goal for my business that I want to get 3 more students by the end of the year. Or I want to revisit my marketing and I need to start a new marketing campaign for this specific offer. Or it's, hey, I need to get more reviews on my Google business profile. Those are some examples of business goals that we might have. Well, let's look at it from a student standpoint. We have students who are focused on, hey, I want to get better at auditioning. Hey, I want to be able to play this piece. Hey, I want to be able to get better at the piano. So we start applying questions to that so we can give context to the goal. So here's the first question that I love to ask of myself and my clients and my students. What's your priority right now? What is it that you need or want? And this can be really important when it comes to setting goals for our businesses, because if we don't think about what are the priorities in this moment, then we might set goals that actually will not feed where we want to go. So I love to sit down and think, what is the priority in the business at this moment? I think this is a great question also for students. What is your priority right now? I give this as an example because this season I have 3 seniors. No, I'm sorry. I have 2 seniors and 1 junior. in high school. And I tell you what, priorities are really important to keep in mind when we have these kids who are so driven, not just in music, but in school. And so we sit down and we talk about goals, hey, what are your priorities this week? And they know that when I ask that question, it's not necessarily about their music practice. It's not necessarily about their voice or their piano skills. It's, hey, what's on the priority chart this week? What's on the map for you, so that we can set reasonable goals for you in what we're doing here today. So we want to ask ourselves, what is the priority? Another way to frame this, or after you ask yourself what the priority is, another question to add to that would be, is this goal relevant for me at this time? This was something that really helped the other day when I was helping my student Maddox figure out what should our focus be at this moment, because he had several different pieces that he was learning, and we needed to make sure that we were keeping our eye on what is coming up next. So we had started a new piece. Oh, goodness, this kid is so amazing when it comes to figuring stuff out by ear. Like, it just makes my heart sing. It's so awesome. Oh, I love this. Let's bring this up, Deborah, and then I'll tell the rest of this little story. She says, amen, achievable and measurable goals. Yes, you know how I roll. Deborah and I were sitting next together this past weekend at the Seco Live conference, which was amazing. And I'm so glad that I got to be your table friend. So coming back to this story, we got so focused on having fun in the lesson and, really exploring his ability to listen and create. And then we had to back up for a second because we both got so excited about playing, what's that song called? Delilah. Dun, 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 dun. You know that one, the earworm, which is super fun to play. But it is, we had to take a step back and we had to ask ourselves, what's the priority right now? Is this goal that we're working on right now relevant? And what we discovered is no. And it's a good thing I asked, because I did not know that there was a school talent show coming up, and Maddox really wanted to play for the talent show. So we had to shift our gears and think about, all right, well, let's revisit, what is this goal that we want to have right now? What is the priority? Is it relevant? So that's one thing that I feel that can be super useful for our students, and it can be super useful for us as well, because it's so easy to fall into this daily task routine where we're just like checking off the boxes and doing things that feel easy to us, whereas we probably need to sit down in the morning and ask ourselves, what's the priority? What is today's priority? I bet you it's probably not checking email. And I know that that's the first thing that I go to like every day. All right. So that's our first question. The second question is this. I love this question. This is something that I use for myself and my students and my coaching clients. And it's this. What changes would you like to see? Well, let's be more specific about these changes. So I can phrase the question like this. What reasonable changes would you like to see next week? So the next time we see each other, what reasonable changes would you have liked to occur at that time? This is something that I talk about, especially with my piano students, because we work on different skills in the lessons. We answer questions. We work on practicing skills, and then we ask ourselves at the end, what do you think your goal should be this week? And I let them decide. What is a reasonable goal that you think that you can achieve? And then I'm like, great. Okay, here's our reasonable goal. Here's the one that we're pretty sure that we can hit. Now, let's say that you had a really great week and you had some extra time at the piano. What's your stretch goal? We can apply that same concept to ourselves in our businesses, right? What's the reasonable goal that you would like to achieve? And, this is something that we set a time frame to, right? We decide, okay, by this day, here's what I would like to see. This is my reasonable goal. And then we can ask ourselves, okay, if I have achieved this, what would the stretch goal be? What would be the goal that goes like, oh, that's really cool. Once you achieve that and you've got extra days before that deadline that you've set for yourself, you can have a stretch goal. And then another part of this question, this one's really important. You might want to write this down since I didn't make a little slide for it. When it comes to setting reasonable changes, something that I like to think about is really identifying what does success, try it again, really identifying what does success look like when you start working on this goal. Hey there, Jana. I see you over there on Instagram. Thanks for joining us today. So asking yourself, what reasonable changes would we like to see next week? And how will we know that we're getting close to those goals? So that's our second question. Our third question is the most important one. So I saved this one for last, and it's this. Why do you want to be able to see those changes? This is really important when it comes to putting meaning and intention behind a goal. So we ask ourselves, why do I want to do this? Why do I want to get 3 more students? Why do I want to get more reviews on Google Business Profile? Why does my student want to be able to easily access her head voice? Putting a why behind something gives us a reason for doing what we're doing. This is what I like to call the "so that I can" statement. So if I ask myself, why do I want to get 3 more students, right? So I would say to myself, okay, getting 3 more students. I want to get 3 more students so that I can hit this specific revenue goal that will allow me to do X, Y, and Z. Applying it to a student, right? Whoops, something's underneath the mic there. There we go. Applying it to a student. I want to be able to access my head voice so that when I am singing this song, I can create a new color at this point, and it will give the character a new emotional palette. Putting these whys behind something is really nice because it can give us this extra boost, this extra little energy and confidence to take the next step towards our goal, even if that next step might be hard. All right. If this is resonating with you, let me know today. Give me some little hearts and thumbs up. Let me know which one of these questions you think is going to be most relevant for you. So we're going to do a quick recap here. But before we do that, I just want to remind you, I've put all together the notes from today's broadcast. And if you drop a goal down below, you will be able to get a hold of those notes. The Savvy Sara bot will reach out to you and get all of the things for you. If you are watching on Instagram, go ahead and drop that word down there. I'll reach out to you via DM and we'll make sure that you get set up with the notes. Okay, so let's get into our recap of the day. Let me get prepared here. If you have any takeaways that you would like to share, now is the time. Bring them up. We'll put them in here at the end. All right, here we go. Little recap. Goals are helpful, whether it's a goal that you're setting with a student or it's a business goal that you are setting with yourselves. Goals give us a sense of direction and purpose. But let's be honest, goals can also be stressful, especially when they feel out of our reach or when they feel like they've been maybe misset a little bit. So here are some things that I would love for you to keep in mind so that you can nurture an effective goal setting practice in your studio as a business owner and as a teacher. First thing to keep in mind, setting goals can be a slippery slope. As somebody who has Achiever as her number 1 in Clifton Strengths, I totally get this. So we need to be mindful of our personal resources. What time, energy, and emotion can I put into this goal? Otherwise, goal setting can become toxic. It can and run us ragged. The second thing to keep in mind is that we need to be aware of this culture thing that tells us bigger, better, faster, stronger all the time. Sure that those things can be great, but at the same time, we want to make sure that we are tapping into the why behind our goal and setting intentional goals. So here are 3 questions that you can apply to goal setting. Number 1, Ask yourself or your students, what is my priority right now? Is this goal that I'm wanting to set relevant? How does it feed the big picture? So think about the priorities and the relevancies of the goals before we set them. Thing number 2, ask yourself, what reasonable changes would you like to see next week, next month, next year? We're doing a couple of things here. We're setting ourselves up, making reasonable goals, and we're also giving ourselves a time frame. When is this goal going to be achieved? And another part of that second question is to ask ourselves, what does success actually look like? So that we have some measurables and we know, hey, when I see this in my business or when I see this in my practice, that means that I'm getting closer to the goal. Number 3, and this is the big one, ask yourself, why do I want to see these changes? It's the so that I can statement. So if your student is wanting to be able to access their voice, their head voice register with ease, ask them, why is that? What will you be able to do once you're able to do that? If you are trying to set business goals for yourselves, use that so that I can statement to tie a deeper meaning to that goal. For example, when I want to get more client reviews on my Google business profile so that I can make sure that potential clients, when they come across me, they see positive things so that I can intentionally celebrate the things that are happening in my studio. That so that I can statement is so important. I hope that you have found this discussion helpful here today. If you would like to get a hold of the notes that we've put together through the Savvy Sara bot, you can drop the word goal down below and we'll make sure to reach out to you via DM. And we're going to wrap it up here today. Thanks for joining us, everyone. I will be back next week on Wednesday at noon Eastern with more business, marketing, and mindset tips for you. In the meantime, stay savvy and stay you, because you are an amazing teacher and there's no one in the world quite like you. And I think that you are pretty dang awesome. Thanks for being here, everybody.